Hi, this is Shantia Meekum, making a video for my microbiology class on parasitic diseases. And today we're going to be talking about malaria. So malaria is caused by a parasite called Plasmodium. And Plasmodium is an obligate intracellular parasite, which means that it requires a host and a host cells in order to reproduce. The disease that Plasmodium causes is malaria. I'm going to define a few words here before we get started. So a sign is what you can see. It's something like a rash or a broken bone. And a symptom is what the patient reports feeling, something like nausea or pain. And so we'll be talking about the signs and symptoms of malaria at the end. There are two types of hosts required for malaria. The first is an intermediate host, which is where asexual development occurs. And in this case, it is humans. The second host is a definitive host, and that is where sexual reproduction occurs. And this is going to be a mosquito for malaria. So now we're going to get into the life cycle of Plasmodium here. So we're going to start out with a mosquito biting a human. And when this happens, the parasite is introduced to the human's bloodstream, and it travels to the liver. So liver is where the first round of reproduction occurs, which is right here. And it is a process called schizogeny. Schizogeny is many cycles of nuclear divisions and then one cytoplasm division, and that releases many offspring at once. So these offspring are called merozoites. After the division in the liver, they're released into the blood. Now, once it's in the blood, it infects red blood cells, and that's where the second round of reproduction occurs. It is called the ring stage. So the ring stage is right here. So this all happens in the red blood cell. The ring stage makes more merozoites, which ends up being released into the bloodstream and in this process causes chills. Some merozoites are going to infect other red blood cells and just continue reproduction. Other merozoites are going to become gametocytes, which are male and female offspring. This process is going to cause anemia because the red blood cells are being destroyed. So at this point, we're going to require another bite. So another mosquito is going to bite the human. And when this happens, it's going to digest those gametocytes that were produced in the red blood cells. So these gametocytes, the male and female offspring, are going to combine to form a zygote. So this is the sexual reproduction that happens in the definitive host, which is the mosquito. And this happens in the mosquito's digestive tract after it ingests the gametocytes from the human. Zygotes are going to make new parasites, and these new parasites are called sporozoites. So here we have sporozoites being produced. The sporozoites are going to travel to the mosquito's salivary gland, which is going to enable the mosquito to infect the next human, and that is the cycle. So some signs and symptoms, some of the earlier signs and symptoms of malaria include fever, which is due to the simultaneous waves of merozoites escaping and infecting other red blood cells, a headache, nausea, shivering and chills and sweating. Later symptoms are anemia due to parasites taking over the red blood cells for reproduction, and vomiting, and also jaundice, which is where the liver is affected due to the hemolysis of the red blood cells. And then the final symptoms without treatment are coma, kidney failure, seizures, mental confusion, and death. So that's the life cycle of Plasmodium, and those are the symptoms of malaria.